Hey everybody, Fun Stampers, Journey Coach Janice Whiting here. Today, a couple days before Mother's Day, and I have one last Mother's Day card. Now, it might not make it in time if you make this today and send it out for Mother's Day, but you can definitely hand it to them, or you can use the technique and turn it into a different occasion type card, because I think that it can be versatile for various types of card giving occasions. So I have been wanting to do this technique for a while now. It is a little bit time consuming because it involves coloring, and you know that always takes time, but it is the masking technique. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you the card. Isn't that pretty? So fun. So it's the masking technique because I used various flower stamps, and of course I'll explain the whole process here in a minute once I change my camera view, but masked off the stamped image and then stamped another one and then masked it and stamped another one anyway. So you'll see, but as you can see, those are some beautiful flowers, kind of a bouquet background, and I like I said, made it a Mother's Day card, used some of our pretty ribbon and called it good. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you how I created this, and hopefully it will inspire you to create one yourself. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we go. So here's the beautiful card. Let's go ahead and show you the stamp sets we're going to be using to make this card. Now, I do want to say that you can pretty much use any flower stamp that you have. These are just two stamp sets that I grabbed that I really loved, the beautiful roses and then of course the larger bloom. I wanted to create, what I've noticed is that you need like a larger one and a medium and a small of a flower bloom. That kind of gives some variety to your card. Of course you could do it all one size, but I kind of liked the look of the different sizes. So the first stamp set that I used is called Desert Greetings. So there we go, Desert Greetings. And I think it is known for this kind of wild and crazy skull, but I actually did not use it. I used these beautiful rose blooms. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. And of course, I like the happy birthday, a simple hello, and thinking of you. Now, in order to bring in a larger bloom, I brought in one of my favorite stamp sets that you will notice from another Mother's Day card I made called Wonderful Day. Now, again, I could have just used Wonderful Day and used these, but I really loved these kind of vintage almost looking rose images, and I brought in this larger bloom. So as you can see here, I've kind of went with like a large, then like a medium and a small here. And I think I did maybe once or twice incorporate this one, but I realized after I did it that it wasn't necessary, I guess. So anyway, so there we go. So Desert Greetings and a Wonderful Day. Now you're going to start off with a tent fold A2 card in whipped cream. Now it doesn't have to be a tent fold. It can be a regular, side fold if you want, but we'll do that. So whipped cream. Then you're going to bring in a piece of oatmeal cookie, and the size on the oatmeal cookie is going to be, I forgot. I'm terrible at these, guys. I'm sorry. It's going to be 3 3/4 by 5. Ta-da! See, that was fast. So 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then another whipped cream panel, which will be where we actually stamp all of our beautiful flowers. And this one is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. Okay, so those are the sizes. And I did those sizes so that I could have a nice frame along the outside. As you can see, it's got a nice white kind of edge there. So yeah. Okay, so we did that. So that's kind of like the basic things you will need. Of course, you're going to need your inks and our watercolor pencils, but I will explain those along the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put card over here, take the base and the mat and put that aside. Now, here's what you're going to need to do before you start stamping you're going to have to, so it does, this does require a little bit of work, okay, because you're going to actually stamp the images that you're going to use on just a thin piece of paper to create the masks, okay? And I found that I needed to stamp them a few times. So I actually originally just stamped each one once, and then as I got the stamping, I realized, oh, I need actually 2 of them. So, and this is where it might be a little time consuming. I did it watching a show, and I think I was on a phone call. So, you know, make the most of your time. And then, of course, I will save these for another time, the next time I use them. And obviously, I saved them for this time. So I did 2 of the larger blooms. I did 2 of the quote-unquote medium, and 2 of the small. And like I said, I did use this double rose image once or twice, and so I mean I did have that. I didn't need it more than once though. But again, it'll be up to you how you want to arrange these onto your card base. So to get started, we're going to use the larger bloom first, and I'm wondering if that's zoomed in enough for us to see well. Let's see. That's a little bit better. Okay, and hopefully I won't see that my lovely skylight coming into play again. Hopefully that won't get in the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I just put this on block E, and we are going to use our black licorice ink. And to get started, I just stamped up the larger bloom from It's a Wonderful Day, and I stamped it in the corner. And so just kind of right there in the corner. Again, it might not be exact how I did it on my previous card, but it's going to be close enough, okay? From there, I started masking, okay? And I just I already have all of my flower images on blocks. So this is my block C. I don't know why I have 2 block C's, but I'm glad I do. C's, and then my smaller bloom on a block B. So I already have these like blocked and ready to go, all right, because I want them just to have, I want easy access, okay? All right, so from here, I took one of my masks. This is where the masking technique comes into play. I grabbed it, I oriented it, and put it where it kind of lined up. So it is important that you fussy cut these kind of exact. And I just held it there, inked up my medium, what I'm calling my medium bloom here. And then I just tried to kind of twist it and turn it and put it exactly where kind of I thought it would fit best. Now you'll notice that it overlaps a little bit where I stamped the previous bloom, but no big deal because again I've masked it. And voila, isn't that so fun? So now it looks like this bloom is in front of this bloom, and it's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Love, 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 love. Love it, love it. Love this technique, guys. If you've never used this technique before, it's not a new technique. I haven't used it very often, and I don't know if I've done a video on it. So anyway, so there's that. So I'm going to continue, and I think I did another big one here. So I'm going to grab my medium rose bloom, and I'm just gonna, again, I'm covering it up so that when I stamp the large bloom in the corner, it won't mess up the image of the flower I just did. So I do want to make sure it's kind of right, and then stamp right there. Boom. Beautiful. So now it looks like this one is over this other bloom, and then we just keep going. So this is where having a couple of a mask for every flower is important. So let's see here, and I have used these quite a few times. So if you're like, wow, that's really dark, Janice, well, it's because again I've used these a few times to create that previous card I made. So, okay, so I've covered that up pretty well. Now I think this is where I came in and used the double rose. No big deal. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to start stamping here. Now, I say start stamping here. When you start stamping, you do have to then consider, oh, I just used that one. So then you got to bring in that mask. If you're nervous about getting, you know, the masks moving once you stamp, if you want to take an extra step and, you know, put some washi tape to make sure it doesn't move on you, you're welcome to do that. That would, you know, if that makes it feel better, if it makes you feel better. I didn't do it just because I'm lazy and I'm I just try to be careful. Okay, so this one is gonna go, I just grabbed another one of the big ones, right up and over it. And then I'm gonna move this up and over, cover this one up. Again, now this is where the two of the same bloom comes into play, because this also needs to be covered right here, because I don't want that to be messed up by another stamped image. And then I think I'm going to bring in, I think I'll bring in one of these small ones. Now I'm deviating from my original plan. That's okay. I'm just trying to create some variety here. Oh, how pretty is that? Okay. Guys, I just want to say that you have so many options here. So I'm creating this entire background, but you can create just a spray on the bottom, a spray on the corner. You can do kind of like one on at the diagonal. You have so many options. And it's so fun to play with. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to grab my mask for this little rose or this little bloom. And I think I will need one for this one as well. And you can think about how much, you can decide how much empty space, background space that you want to have. You may not want to have very much, or you may want to have more. It's really up to you. So it's your design. You think of what you want. All right, so I think I've covered that fairly well. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with my medium rose. And let's see. I'm going to do this at the diagonal. Pretty pretty. And I guess I didn't need that one anymore. Let's see, then I'm going to do another medium rose up here, but that means I need to cover up this medium or the double rose image. And I'm going to use my medium rose on this side. Lovely. All right, I'm going to bring in, I think I'm going to use another small rose. Let's see, where did I put this? Now I rearranged it so much I don't remember where it goes. There we go. And then cover this medium rose and the medium rose on this side. There we go. That's what is, as this is what creates that very detailed masking look, or you know that it's, you know, there's a flower in front of it or behind it look. It's really important that you get those cuts nice and sharp and exact to the outline of the flower, because otherwise it'll look like it's got white space around it. Okay, so I'm bringing in my cute little medium rose, and how do I want this guy to orient himself? Maybe I think maybe I'll put a couple of him here. One there, and I'm going to cover him up and put one right on top. Where's your stem? Oh, here he is. There we go. I apparently cut the stem off the other one. I will. Alright. And I'm going to do one more of the same rose right there in the middle. Okay, good. Alright, that's how it's looking so far. So fun. Okay, I'm going to do what looks like I need some more bigger blooms in here. So I'm going to cover up this medium rose. Again, there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I just am trying to get a nice balance of each flower here. And of course I'm going to be coloring these afterwards, and so I don't want you know, too much of one in one area. And of course we love the big blooms because they take up a lot of space in it. You don't have to do as much stamping and coloring later on. Okay, big bloom there. I'm going to cover up this little guy and this little guy and do another bloom right on top of it. So there's, is that how he goes? Where's my little one with his stem? Here he goes. There and there. And I might want to go ahead and cover up this guy here just in case my big bloom takes a bit of that space as well. Better safe than sorry. Okay, big bloom. Hopefully he'll take up the rest of that corner space. Yes. And then maybe I'll come in with the double rose because I haven't used him very much right here possibly. So he'll go right in here. I'm going to bring my other mask of my other larger bloom right there. All right, here we go with the big rose or double rose. So this one's definitely going to be a little bit different from my other one, but you'll notice it's the same idea, same technique. Okay, and then maybe I'll do a little bloom right there. Yeah, I'll do a little bloom right there in the corner. Which means I need to cover up that double rose and make sure he's oriented correctly. And then he'll go right here. Let's see how that looks. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, I think I need a little bit something right here on the edge because there's a little too much white space. So let's see here. Let's cover up Mr. Little Bloom. And I think if I use this one, we'll cover up that space there. All right, and yep, I think I'm going to just use the large, I say the large, that medium rose that I hadn't used on this end too much. I'm just going to go right over it. Perfect. All right, so let's see if we can pull this up a little bit. Isn't that just, I mean, so amazingly beautiful. It's gorgeous. Okay, so I am fighting my morning light again, and I am so sorry. So I'm going to move this forward a bit and see if that will help in any way. And now, okay, so now that we've got our background, I was thinking of base. Now you're ready to color. Gosh, I'm just staring at this going, wow, that is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our Journey watercolor pencils over. So I'm going to use these for coloring. Now, you know, technically you can use whatever coloring medium you like. I just really enjoy my watercolor pencils a lot. And I've already have a piece of acetate sheet that I was working with when I was creating the other cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring it over. And I let the color kind of just go ahead and dry up because the wonderful thing about these colors is if you use a little bit more than you intended, you can always go back and pick up the color from this just by adding a little bit more water. Okay. Now, I'm starting off with the greens. The greens that I was, I kind of just mixed some together, and I used pencils number 18, 20, and 21. Just get a little bit of water going. Don't need a lot of water, just a wee bit. To save with time, I a lot of times will just put the 3 pencils that I chose, whatever pencils, and just mix them all together, just like that. Start creating a little bit of a lather. There we go. And you're just kind of putting them all together, mixing them, creates kind of the right green that I was looking for. That's the awesome thing about these pencils. They're easy to mix. Then you go ahead and you start painting your leaves. Now, for whatever reason, because I painted, just painting the leaves helped me to kind of orient myself as far as what, where I was, what is what, because the stamp, this particular stamp technique lends itself really well to filling up the page nicely. but it also can be a little confusing at times. So just find those leaves, and then that will help you to distinguish between the other images, okay? And that first go round when you're using the watercolor pencils, just your goal for the first layer is just to fill in. You're just filling in every leaf you see with that green. Now, of course, if you wanted to add some variety to the color of your green, and you wanted some leaves darker and some leaves lighter, or you just wanted completely different shades of green, then of course you could do that. I am sticking to easy. You know me, I like easy. I don't know if there's a leaf there, so I'm gonna just, oh yeah, there's a leaf here. And that might be a leaf, but I'm gonna hold off in a second and get that a little bit later. Leaf here. Anyway, like I was saying, you know me, I like easy, so if if there's an easy route here, I will usually pick it. Not always. I was about to say, you know me, so you know that's not always the case. Hence the fussy cutting, for example. But more often than not, that's what I like. Okay, so let's get these done. Now, like I said, you can do different shades of green and kind of mix it up even more. But for me, I'll just keep this one shade, but I will go back with a second layer to add a little bit of dimension to these leaves. And what I will do is I will go back with just a tad bit darker shade, and then I'll go in and add, like I said, maybe just some shading along the already given lines that the stamp image kind of has. So that makes it really easy. That's another wonderful thing about these particular stamps. Okay, a whole bunch of green right here. Almost done with the green. I do try to get the stems in. I don't try to be perfectly exact because, again, this is watercolor. Watercolor is not intended to be perfect. It has, you know, you're looking for that kind of, you know, washed out, not exact kind of look. I don't know how else to describe it other than watercolor. There's a little leaf poking out. Now, when you try to do this at home, again, yours will, you know, probably be a little bit different, and they're all will probably be a little bit different. But that's kind of the way this particular technique goes, especially if you're using flowers. Okay, so I think I have used and I've colored all of the leaves. Sometimes I forget some, like for example here I think is a little stem that I missed. So it doesn't hurt to go back and just kind of have a double take just in case you missed something. No big deal if you did. Again, like I said, you can always go back. Okay, so that's my first layer. And let me hold this up so you can see. Just got my green. Now from here, I will go ahead and make a darker shade of green. And then I'm going to go ahead and, excuse me, I'm going to highlight with this darker shade. So I think I'm going to use just my number 20 to go ahead and make a highlighted or a darker shade here. So you can see just like that. This number 20 is a little bit more of like a bluish green, but because I already laid down the one green earlier, I think we'll be okay. All right, and then again, so just along the areas that are already kind of highlighted, I say highlighted, shaded, so like the actual lines of the leaves. And this step, I try not to take too much time in. Literally, it's just kind of going along some of those edges that's already there. Again, I'm not looking for exact, I'm just looking for adding a little bit of just some variety and shading. Gives it a little bit of extra depth. Makes it not such a flat image. So some contrast here with the light green and the dark green. There we go. Anytime the flower is up against, or the leaf is kind of behind a flower or behind another leaf, that's a kind of prime time to add a little bit of shading there, because you know that if something is behind something, chances are it's going to be, or it's going to have a shadow. Oh, I'm trying to make that last little bit of paint stretch so I don't have to make any more. All right, and I think I made it. Okay, so there we go. Let me go ahead and lift this up. I don't know if you can see a little bit of that. I don't know if it's picking that up or not. Maybe you can tell a little bit there and here. So just darkened up some of the middles. You can tell really well on that one, I think. And then along the bottoms a bit. Okay, so that just adds some extra depth and dimension to your green. Very good, very good. All right, so from here, you are going to then choose your colors. So for your flowers, I went with a, let's see, where is my card? A little bit of a reddish orange here, and a red, and then like a pink. That's just kind of the color scheme that I came up with, and so I'm going to stick with that. I did go ahead and I switched over to my medium blending brush, just because it, you know, a greater surface to paint with. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reactivate this pink that I used yesterday just by spraying some water on it. And look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so this pink is made using my #1 colored pencil, and this one was for the medium rose. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, here's a medium rose. Again, that first layer is just filling it in. I don't do anything detail-wise that first round. I don't even worry if it's even too much. I just get it filled in. And I do that to each of the roses that I have colored, or that I've stamped, excuse me. And again, sometimes it is hard to tell where is the rose and where, you know, but don't worry. This type of background technique, it doesn't require exact coloring. Okay, let's see. For example, where's the rose? Okay, here. And I did do the same color on the double rose, the 1 or 2 that I did with the double rose image. Okay. And then I think this one. So far I think I did a decent job of getting these spread out as much as I could. Okay, there's that one, and then let's see here. Here's a double rose, and then of course that one that was in the background that I decided to add right at that last minute because there was some white space there. So double rose, and even if it didn't pick up the actual details of the stamp right next to, you know, along the edge of the other flower, I go ahead and fill that in anyway because I know that there was the rose was supposed to be there. All right, make this stretch, and then back here was the other pretty rose. There we go. Okay, so we got those. I think I've got all the rose images there. Okay, so now I'm going to come back, spray a little bit more water. And now I'm going to just make a darker lather, because now I'm going to go back in for the shadowing, the contrasting, and I do want it to be darker. So less water, more of your color. And I want to make sure I'm in the camera view. So let's see if I can keep this here. That should be okay. All right, so again, in order to do this, kind of the way I was hoping, I'm just going in where the stamp has that natural shading, and then along the sides where it might be beneath a flower. So there's that. So this is not anything super technical. Don't get scared. You can totally do it. These particular stamps make it easy to do because they provide the kind of the areas that you need to go over already, you know. So all these areas that have the shadow, the little darker areas, that's where you're going. Okay, so I'm not taking too much care. I'm just going right over these dark images. Here, here. Here, here. Maybe beneath, underneath that leaf, that leaf. This one over here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so y'all can see a little bit better where this shading is happening, because it looks like you might not be able to tell. Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry about that movement. Okay, so back over here you kind of saw, I just was going over the shading. Okay, and then let's see. There, there, and then this last one here, just right over there, in the middle for sure. Here, a little bit of there, a little bit there. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, I don't generally spend too much time being concerned over it looking just right, because the watercolor will kind of blend, and again, you're not going for a very specific look. You're just going for, you know, outlining, adding a little bit of contrast to your image. If I find that my lines were too sharp, because again, this is a watercolor and I don't want them to be so sharp, like this one's real sharp, I'll just come back, add a little bit of water, and I'll just go back over it. And then it kind of blends out a little bit. And I could do that for all of the ones that I've done, and it will blend it out just a little bit more simply by adding water, but you won't lose the contrast so much, because when it dries it'll still keep a good bit of that dark shade that you added. So right now I don't even have any, it's basically just a wet brush that I'm kind of using to blend out those roses. Let's see if I can come back to that one. You can see it's a little bit less, oh, it's not focusing, there we go. So there we go, those are the flowers. Okay, so the medium roses. So now let's go ahead and go to the big old poppies, which usually is what I would start off with, but I grabbed the pink and so I just went with it. Okay, so for the poppies, which is what those big blooms are, I'm using pencil number 3. Hello, there it is. Pencil number 3. Grabbed a little bit of water here. And making that, gosh, let me push that out so you can see. Making my puddle of paint with my number 3. And you'll notice I'm not using multiple colors on each bloom. I'm just using the one pencil, but I'm using it with a concentrated pigment, a little bit of paint, and then with a little bit of paint that's less concentrated by adding more water. I'm going to move this back over here. I've got that puddle of paint that I'm going to be using, and now again I'm just going to be painting the entire bloom. Again, not necessarily taking too much care to do anything other than filling the entire bloom with the paint. I'll come back in a minute and I'll add some more highlighted shades and things like that in a minute. So really the key to this, especially when you have different blooms, is just pick colors for your blooms that you'll know will go well together, or really just natural colors. So any of your reds, your pinks, your or if you wanted to go with yellows and oranges. Flowers are all sorts of different colors and they all look good, so I don't think you'll go wrong with whatever color you choose. Okay. We got this one. Oh, I think I caught a leaf that I did not paint. That happens too, because as you're painting and filling out the blooms, you'll be like, oh, that's not a petal. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I will do is I will go ahead and color all of this. I think you've seen what I do. I will color it, like hurry up and fast forward it, and then I will meet you when it's all colored. One thing I will say though is the same technique that I'm using. I'm going to be using the number 6 for these small blooms, but again, same technique, okay? Okay, so I have finished coloring. There we go. It did look a little bit different from my previous background. You probably can't necessarily tell exactly. Still the same idea, still the same flowers, but again, just, you know, the layout's a wee bit different. But so what you didn't see was I came in and I put in some of the darker bits of the orange inside for my second round in there. And of course I went and I did these pink flowers using our pencil number 6 here. First layer just covered it all lightly. Second layer came back and added some of the darker, same shade, but just less water of the, just kind of around the shaded areas of the stamp image. So really actually quite simple to do, guys. A little bit of time consuming, but so pretty and so effective. Isn't that just so gorgeous? Okay, so now that the coloring is done, we are going to be ready to stamp a sentiment, and then once we stamp the sentiment, we'll be ready to assemble this beautiful little guy. So the sentiment that I chose is Celebrate Mom, and this is from our annual celebrations collection, and I put that somewhere, but of course it's lost. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Just know it's from our annual celebrations collection. I found it. It's covered under all sorts of stuff. So it's the one that says, obviously Celebrate Mom, but this one has so many, guys, this is a really great set to have. Happy Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Halloween, Christmas, 4th of July, Happy New Year, Thanksgiving, Easter, just happy holiday season, and St. Patrick's. So this is a great holiday set to have. Okay, so what I did to create this particular sentiment panel, let me go ahead and bring back this other guy here. So you can tell there it's in a circle. So I stamped this using our black licorice. I'll go ahead and put that back up and away. And a scrap of our whipped cream paper. And stamp it towards the end, the edge of the whipped cream paper, so that you've got plenty of time, plenty of space to then come back and take the, this is a little bit scrap of paper, take the circle punch and punch through. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's inked up real well. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and just put it here just for the sake of having enough space. Stamp it really well. Perfect. Beautiful. Now from here, I took our circle punch using our punch system and the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. I fitted it right in there, and if you look closely at this one on the right hand side right there, it cuts off the little banner. Okay, so that's okay. I didn't mind. I wanted to Celebrate Mom in there more importantly than anything else. So I just kind of made sure it was, can we see that? Yeah, we can see that pretty well. So it cut it off just a little bit, and then whoop, there it goes. And then from here, you've got that perfect little tag. This half cut off on the end. That's okay. I think it still looks adorable. From there, I used another one of our dies, and it was this die here from our Tab Clips die set. I used this circle because it was perfectly 2 inches. For some reason, I don't know why we don't have a 2-inch circle, but that's okay. Well, we do actually in the tab set. Anyway, I forgot to mention that I actually snip it using our pro shears, fancy pro shears. I actually trim just along the bottom of that because I didn't necessarily need all that white showing through. And then I glued it using our craft glue to this circle. So just a little bit of craft glue there, and then this will go right up on top. I didn't worry about the tab part of that because I'm not using the tab part, just really using this to mat my circle. So fun. Okay, so this is the little tab. This is the little kind of embellishment part that will go behind the ribbon. Okay, so I think we've got everything that we need to assemble. Yay! We have our card, our panel, flower panel. We have our little Celebrate Mom panel, or little tab, whatever you want to call it. And of course, you're going to need some oatmeal cookie satin ribbon. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out just a little bit more so we can get all that in view right there. Okay, and then of course our card base and our oatmeal cookie panel. Okay, so we've got everything we need here to go ahead and assemble this guy. We've got our card base, our oatmeal cookie panel, our flower panel, our little Celebrate You embellishment part, our oatmeal cookie ribbon, and then as well as our little sparkle drops that we'll use in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and use my craft glue and just give this a good little, I ran out of my tape runner, so craft glue to the rescue. Which actually, guys, you know how I love my craft glue, and the one benefit for using the craft glue is that you can kind of shift and move your piece exactly where you need it to be without any worries. Alright, I actually like to turn it over and do the rubbing on the back to make sure it's adhered really well. Good. Beautiful. Okay, so now you've got your floral panel that I am like in major love with. I could marry if I wasn't married already. Okay, so I've got the panel. Now let's take some of our ribbon and create our bow. Now 24 inches. I really don't ever measure my ribbon as far as how much it takes to create the bow. I just grab about as much as I need. I say need. I just get a little bit out, and then I come and grab my bow that way. Make my bow that way. So I'm going to go ahead and, I think that in the past it's been about 24 inches per bow. Let me see, that and that, I think that's probably pretty good. Some of you guys are probably cringing. You're like, I always measure. If that's you, I'm sorry. Let's see. That was 14 and yeah, I was about 24 inches. Man, I'm good. Boom, boom. I must have measured it before. I'm sure I did. Okay, I like to get my straps, my little straps even, and then go from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go from here, make my loops. Don't you love kids? I love my kids. Come around and then pull those loops. Now, this is the part where you can kind of make it and create it your own. Make it pretty. All right, you are the boss of the bow, okay? So you tell it where you want it to go. Okay, obviously my little loops are a little long. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it so that it's the right size. And I may still fidget with my bow loops if I feel like they're too big, which I do feel like they are quite big. Hey, I'm not opposed to big bows. I'm really not. There, I think that might be better. Okay, so we've got our pretty ribbon. So fun. Make sure it's about, I think it's about an inch or so from the bottom here. Okay, so now we've got the panel and the bow done. We're going to take the craft glue, put a little bit on the bottom here of our panel, And you're going to just shimmy it down right until about it's even-ish with this ribbon. And I'm going to scooch it over. Okay, now what I do to make sure the ribbon doesn't move is I take a glue dot and I put it right underneath the bow, and that keeps the bow from moving. Now you could probably use hot glue or something like that, but the glue dot is just so much easier. So I'm taking this glue dot, I'm putting it right where I want it to be, take the wrapper off, move the ribbon on top, and now the glue dot is securing my ribbon. Now I don't have to worry about it shifting on me anymore. I still may make this a bit smaller. There we go. Maybe I should move that a little bit. Just kind of play with it so that your Mother's Day is not covered up and your bow is still there and nice and pretty. Okay, now from here, I think I'm going to trim these guys, but other than trimming, I'm going to go ahead and put the sparkle drop right in the center of the bow. Hold on, let me trim this little guy here real quick. Good. Right in the center. Now the wonderful thing about the sparkle drops is that they're already self-adhesive, so you just take it off and put it right there. Oh, how pretty, how pretty, how pretty. I feel like I covered up the Mom's Day too much. Okay, so from here you're going to take your foam squares and use those on the back, and that is it. After that, the card is done. So really the most technical thing on this card is you using the masking technique to create that beautiful flower panel. That's really, and it wasn't too necessarily hard, it was just a little bit time consuming. And of course the coloring, but the coloring is so fun. Go. And then we're going to center you right in the middle. It's always nice to be over it. Like I actually stand up. I am standing up right now to make sure that it's just right to get those even on all sides. Boom. Beautiful. I love, 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 love it. There we go. Okay, so all done. Isn't that so pretty, guys? Now, if you wanted your bow to be a little bit further down, you can take a glue dot and put a glue dot behind this loop here and just kind of squish it down. And you could do the same thing with your loops if you want to make those go down. Remember, you are the boss of the bow. The bow's not the boss. It works for you. Anyway, so there you go. Let's see if we can look at the comparison between the first one and the second one. So again, it's pretty much, it's the same exact technique, but obviously the layout could be a little different depending on how you do your flowers. So fun times. Hopefully you enjoyed that technique. Like I said, it is a little bit more involved as far as the masking goes and of course the coloring, but you can color it however you'd like. You can do watercolors, alcohol markers, whatever, color pencils, your choice. Anyway, hopefully you loved that card and that is inspiring you to create on something similar on your own time. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked or would like to have any of the products I used on this card today, then you can go to www.funstampersjourney.com/Janice Whiting and click the shop button. And I would definitely appreciate it. So thank you. What I was thinking was that we have our retirement list and sale going out. I was telling you that it was going out March 16th, but guys, it's being delayed by 2 days because we have a new website coming and they just want to make sure everything is going to be smooth before they start that retirement and clearance list. So March, Lord have mercy, May 18th, May 18th. That is when the clearance and retirement list is going live, okay? So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, I have had a lot of questions about our May bloom box. Yes. Of course, I have had a lot of questions because, I mean, these cards are gorgeous. And I just dropped one. They are so, so gorgeous. This kit is amazingly beautiful. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I know you love it. I love it. So gorgeous. 6-month subscription, guys. Subscription is $24.95 plus shipping and tax. But I will not go into all of the benefits because I do it every one of my videos. So just go check out that May video if you're interested. You would sign up the same way you would purchase an item. So just, I take that back. Well, you could, but you go to my website again, www.funstampersjourney.com/Janice Whiting, and click on the Bloom box. Now you would just follow a series of links that would take you to the sign up kind of wizard or so, and then it would just have you basically end up putting it into a shopping cart and purchasing it that way. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know because a lot of people have been asking me questions about it, and I am so excited because I knew you guys would love it. I knew you would love it. And June's is really cute too, by the way. Okay, guys, I think that's it for me. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that if you are a mom or you have a mom and you are celebrating this weekend, that you have a special and wonderful weekend celebrating those special people in your lives and remembering those that have gone before us. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.